Welcome, guys, gals, gays, and theys, to the Hangout Quest podcast. I'm Alex, here again with Camry,
I'm Camry.
and we are going to get right into...
More Genshin.
Yeah, more Genshin, of course, but... Whatever, dude. Whatever. Okay, so the Genshin live stream just happened. And I am excited about it. So that's what we're talking about.
Perfect. Yes. We are getting all kinds of new information that we have already said we wanted. We're gearing up for the new patch, which should be any minute now. Just anticipating some kind of big changes, actually. This is kind of a heavy patch.
There's a lot coming out. A lot of important stuff, like Clorinde's Story Quest. So, is it a story quest or an event that's happening for Clorinde?
I believe it's a story quest that's happening for Clorinde, but she may also be involved in the new Archon quest that we're getting with Dainsleif.
Right. It was a little confusing to me because it's like there's like a D&D part of this and an interlude part of this. So I don't know, like I don't know what, and also the fluffy bunny simulated universe part of this that is also a thing that's happening. So like I don't know where Clorinde and the gang fit in there.
Yeah, I have a hunch that Clorinde is going to be all over both. Because it seems like they're going to tie Dainsleif to the Melusines hunters, which is her whole bag. Which would mean that she's probably part of that interlude and probably not an insignificant part of that interlude. But they could also be like baiting and switching me with the way they cut the trailer.
Yeah, I don't really, because there's also Siegeween, and Siegeween is not getting a story quest, but she had a lot of lines.
No, she is.
Oh, is she? Oh, okay. Sorry, I haven't seen the leaks for that one. I've only seen the leaks for Clorinde, so I don't... Okay, never mind. I didn't realize there were two story quests.
No, they said she was getting one.
Okay.
We just don't know anything about it.
You and I personally. I'm sure
Yeah.
that, that's funny. I'm so excited. So her story quest is going to be the D&D thing. And basically what's happening is Clorinde is getting with Navia, Farina, and Lenny to go play D&D. So it's like all of our favorite characters from Fontaine are coming together to play Dungeons & Dragons. And I am so ready for it. I cannot believe it. Like, I was worried. I was worried that Clorinde... I'm worried about Clorinde's personality, basically. Like, we don't know much about her. She's pretty much just a working waifu, and it's like, I need some more. And if some more is she's got an unhealthy relationship with role-playing games, then, like, I'm right here for it. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more about Clorinde. I do have to say, I had the same sort of wait and see attitude about Siegeween, and I know we're gonna learn more about her, but based on her kit, I'm like out. It's so fluffy bunny cutesy. There's no edge to it. I don't know about it.
There is no edge other than other than she's half Melusine, half human. There's a little bit of edge to that, but
yeah, but like her kit does not have any of that edge.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sorry. I wanted the little meter on her little purse to go sad face, stormy cloud, and then for her to be like not okay for a little bit. But that's not...
I remember...
That's not what happened.
A while ago, you were speculating with me that she'd be like a 4-star and be like 4-star Farina so that she could swap between like modes and do a similar thing that Farina does and like suck your party's HP away.
Yeah, I'm sad that was... I think still that was a great speculation. I'm really sad.
I liked it.
That is not...
I think you were onto something, dude. I mean, she had the little switchy thing on her purse, so like that was fine. That was a good idea. And I think that the game needs like something like that. I think that the game would do well to have an alternative to Farina as far as like letting other characters be able to use the hunter set. Maybe not suck the whole party's HP, but actually, I guess it doesn't really matter because this is a little mechanical in the weeds, but the idea is only on-fielders can benefit from the hunter set, like crit rate passive. So it doesn't even matter that she sucks the whole party's HP, but another, like a 4-star character could only suck the on-fielder's HP and give the hunter set bonus. Anyway, what I'm saying is the game would do well to have an alternative Furina character.
Yeah, I mean, they could have a function that is very similar to Furina's with the life steal and the life gain without it having to be really complicated about why, and they could have on-field function. I do think it's something that's missing in the game. I think there are a lot of characters who fill the role of like, hey, this character that functions in the meta, but just like slightly worse, and that's a 4-star. And it makes a lot of the meta teams much more accessible to players, where if you can only do stuff with Furina, then you have to get Furina. And I know they want you to, but not everybody's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is... I guess it is kind of the off-field like support characters that kind of don't get overlapping roles as often. Like there's not very many examples. I mean, Sing Cho and Yelan are a good example, but what I'm saying is there's more on-fielders that step on each other's toes than supports. But supports don't come out as often. There's more on-fielders, so it...
Right. I think that's a major part of the problem is that there are so many on-fielders and so few supports. So if you release a 5-star off-field support, they're going to be really highly coveted, but there are people in the game who don't pull for characters when they don't like the character. And while I do think everyone should like Furina, because I like her, I get that not everybody wants Furina.
It's the objectively correct opinion to have. Sorry.
It's the correct opinion. It is. But there are probably people who would really benefit from having an alternative, or people like me who don't like to change up my teams that much. It would be great to have a Furina and a pretend Furina, a faux Rina, maybe.
Faux Rina. Yeah.
For my other team.
Oh, God. Yeah, true. It's interesting because like Sethos is kind of exactly this. Like there's a 5-star on-field DPS character coming out, and he is going to be a 4-star on her banner. So it's just like he's just actually just like the same thing as Clorinde, just a 4-star instead. So it's like it's just kind of funny. Obviously, he's got an interesting kid. It's a little bit different, but
I feel like his kid is so weird.
Oh, it's
you have
weird.
to stand still and do a charge shot that takes forever, and it consumes your energy.
Well,
for your ults. I would
believe,
never play that personally, but I hate charge shotters, so
that's fair. Yeah, you refuse to play any archer for any reason. Not even Fischl, she's not even an art. Like you could pretend she's a sword character, Camry. She takes 1 millisecond of on-field time, and then she's gone, and you get all of her damage. You don't have to do anything with the bow. Anyway, okay.
Listen, Fischl's the only bow character I will use, but I do have to kick back a little bit that I use Yelan, and I do use her sometimes on field. So
okay, yeah, you do use Yelan, which is great. I love
it's character growth for me.
Right. I think the idea is with that charge shot that takes obviously way too long on Sethos is that you can either spend energy to make the charge shot go faster, or not charge shot like that and try to get his ult and only use him on field while he's ulted, which is what turns his like auto attacks into those piercing shots. So it's like either spend energy to do really fast charge shots like Tainari or something. Like Tainari is kind of similar in that like he has a really long charge shot animation, or you can use his skill and then he has 3 really fast charge shots, but you can't like, and then you have time to like switch to other characters because you don't want to sit there using Tainari's actual charge shot because it takes so long.
Okay.
I know you don't play Tainari.
No, it's fine. My actual process with Sethos was oh, look, he's kind of cool. Oh, uh-oh, he has a bow. Oh, he's a charge shot. I'm going to skip this part of the program.
I see. I think there's a world where you don't mind Sethos if you try out his like I'm sure that it's going to be really fun to use his ult animation because it's going to be like Yelan's auto attacks, except they're going to be like piercing electro shots instead of Yelan's cool watery shots. I don't know.
Yeah, Yelan just always getting us all wet.
That's what she does. I'm so excited for the Clorinde thing. Is that going to Mondstadt, or is it just the Fluffy Bunny simulated universe that's gonna like take us to Mondstadt? Because
to my knowledge, it's just the new simulated universe thing that's in Mondstadt.
okay, because they showed like Farina and Navia like running around Mondstadt, but that might have been for something else. I don't really know what you know.
Were they in Mondstadt running around?
Yeah, they totally showed them. Like they showed Navia like walking up some stairs, and I couldn't tell exactly where it was, but I'm pretty sure that Navia was like walking up something that looked like Mona's house stairs, and then Farina was like playing with Cheval Moran around the bar. I forget what it's called. Not the cat bar, but the other bar.
I was looking at the characters, I guess. I didn't notice the setting. Maybe their D&D
Yeah,
game
fair.
is set in Mondstadt, or maybe they go to get D&D books from Lisa or something. That would be cool, though, to see them there.
That was my thought was, you know, with the Fluffy Bunny coming out, like I can't really tell, like maybe the Fluffy Bunny is part of that story quest or something, but maybe not. But my idea is if they go to Mondstadt to play Dungeons and Dragons, my head, like until the patch comes out, I am only going to be thinking about how awesome it would be for Fischl to be part of their D&D party. She wasn't there at all, but I'm, you know, playing Dungeons and Dragons. If you're playing Dungeons and Dragons in Mondstadt, you have to invite Fischl. That's my.
I'm with you on that. I think Fischl and Mona playing D&D with literally anyone else would be my favorite event of Genshin history.
Yeah, if Fischl and Mona show up to play D&D with all of our favorite Fontaine characters, like that's the most peak fiction I could possibly imagine. Like nothing would make me happier. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think that the D&D stuff is probably just gonna all happen in Fontaine, but I don't know. So are you okay? So okay, fine. We can talk about the simulated universe, the new like the new game mode. Are you excited at all?
I like that you can get photo emotes as prizes.
Same.
I like, for me, I know people are disappointed. I like that it means the Spiral Abyss will only reset once a month instead of twice. I know that means I'm losing out on rewards, but if we're all honest, I never do the second half of it. So I'm not losing out on anything.
Honestly, I'm happy about that. Like, as someone who does like to participate in that thing, because like the Spiral Abyss, like half month reset, it's not new monsters in there. It resets the Abyss.
It's just the same thing.
It's just the same thing. So it's like, I don't like that. So like, I'm glad to have it just 1 month and then they reset it and then there's monsters. And I'm pretty sure it's more rewards overall if you do both game modes. Like if you do the Simulated Universe and the Spiral Abyss, I think you're gonna get more rewards than just the Spiral Abyss gave. So
Yeah, I think so.
I'm still happy with it, even if. Anyway, continue. I just wanted to.
No, you're fine. I don't like that they're telling me which characters I can play. I do like I can borrow characters from other people. I don't know.
I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about the borrowing characters thing because like I wanna play your Hu Tao. You know, like I like Hu Tao. I just I'm never gonna pull on her though. So it's like a same thing with like Navia. I want to play your Navia. That'll be fun. It's cool.
Yeah, I like that part of it, definitely. But you won't be able to play my Navia in the first version.
Oh, that's true.
Because it's locked by element. which I don't like because I don't like Animo characters and I only like a very few Electro characters. So I'm gonna be I'm gonna be in trouble.
You can use my Miko.
Yeah, I can use your Miko. I don't know how much that'll. My problem is I don't know how to play any of the characters outside of the elements that I like. And I don't get any Hydro.
That's fair. Well, with Miko, you just emerge.
All of my teams are built on Hydro.
True. Yeah, you're a big Hydro Dendro baby player.
Yeah, Hydro more than anything. Hydro is my favorite element in the game. So I'm in trouble.
That's fair.
But when it's the Hyper Bloom team's version of the simulated universe, I'm going to have fun. So I don't know. I'm reserving judgment, I think.
Yeah. And we'll see. It might be a little bit... It looks like it's shaping up to be a little bit easier in certain ways than Simulated Universe. So you might find it less frustrating. I guess it kind of depends. I don't really know how... The monsters are going to be easier to kill, but you can't use your most powerful characters in every floor. So that might be, that's a weird trade-off.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be hard. I don't know. Are you feeling excited about it? Are you apprehensive?
I like it. I like the idea, I think. I don't know really how I feel about the not being able to use your characters more than twice, but I don't really mind. I like having a place to go for, I think it's like a total of like 16 or 18 characters. Like I am fine with that because
it's like a lot of characters.
It is a lot of characters to build, and personally I think that like Spiral Abyss is a little bit too hard for the to 36 star. It is a little bit too hard. And that's 8 characters. And I think I'd rather it be something easier with more characters to build, I guess, is kind of my thought process. I don't really that doesn't actually math out. I know what I just said was kind of contradictory, but
I don't think so, because there's a lineup of trial characters on the roster that you can borrow, and you can borrow supports from your friends. So it's more about, I think, working through the game play and doing the reactions that they're asking you to do that patch than it is about having, 16 well-built characters. You probably need to have some well-built characters of your own, but I think that you don't have to actually possess 16 of them yourself.
Yeah. I'm a little bit, I wonder how those trial characters are going to be, because I don't know if they've ever given us a trial character that was strong enough to 36 star the Abyss, because all these trial characters are like 80 level 80 with level 80 weapons or something as the strongest trial character I've ever seen. So if they don't give us level 90 characters with level 90 weapons, I don't know what I'm gonna,
Well,
I don't know. It depends on how well they're built.
Yeah, it does, but it's my understanding that your characters only need to be level 70 to enter.
That is true, which is I'm a little afraid about that.
I mean, the difficulty might not be what Spiral Abyss is, because Spiral Abyss still continues to exist. So this might be, they might be kind of framing this as an alternative for less advanced players to be able to do some in-game content without struggling so hard.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that it's easier. I think that the dreamers of the world have shown that the final floors of this new simulated universe are going to be the monsters are lower level than floor 12 monsters. So I think it's going to be easier, but I don't,
I hope that it will be easier.
But your characters are going to be weaker, so I don't know.
I guess we'll have to see how that balances
you're gonna be
out.
Strategic about it. Yeah.
But maybe then there will be more of an incentive in the game for horizontal investment, where right now there really isn't any reason for me to want to build all the characters that I want to build. I just like them all. And now with content to clear with them, it maybe feels less guilty to spend my resources on Toma, even though I don't have him on a Spiral team.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of what I was trying to get at earlier, is that I like the incentive for horizontal investment, because I I really like building more characters. I think it's a good way to be. I think it's fun.
I do too.
It's just you only get so many resources though in the game, so it's kind of it is hard to justify because
True.
you know I don't know. I could spend less time in artifact domains, but I don't want to because it's like every piece of resin I spend outside of an artifact domain, that resin can't get me a new piece for Farina. So it's like I can't.
Right.
What's the point?
But I also feel like at a certain point, Farina's artifacts are good enough, and if you wanted to play other characters, you could still farm artifacts for them. Or, strong boxing the artifacts that didn't work for Farina and then giving them to the characters that are for your simulated universe instead. Like, you can keep building your spiral characters up strong and the characters that you love the most. But there's always kind of overflow resources from that I think could easily go towards having a strong roster for the simulated thing.
Yeah. Yep. And that is going to be... It's gonna be fun, It's gonna be fun to build up some more characters. I'm excited and have a place to go for them, because it's like right now it's pretty much just if they're strong enough or not to go into the Spiral Abyss, and that's the Spiral Abyss is pretty tough. I think personally, we kind of talked about it on a recent podcast, but like difficulty in Genshin, I don't know if I hammered home enough that I really do think that like everyone says it's super easy. But floor 12 in Spiral Abyss is not easy.
It is not.
Like, I don't think it's not easy to 36 star. Like, it might be kind of technically easy to go in there and, like, beat floor 12, all 3 chambers, but to beat it in 3 minutes each, like, that is not easy. So, I don't know. And, of course, the reward for that is also pretty much abysmal. Like, if you go in and beat floor 12, all 3 chambers, and get, like, 8 stars... instead of 9, like the difference between or it's like 6 stars instead of 9, I guess, because you only get rewards every 3 stars. So it's like the difference between 2-starring every chamber and 3-starring every chamber is like massive, and the reward is 50 primo gems.
Right.
So it's completely not worth it. But it is fun. It's it's a challenge. It's the only challenge in the game, pretty much. But it's like I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Well, and I think a huge failing of the Spiral Abyss is that there's not what this new simulated system has, like first time clear additional rewards. I think the first time you 36 star the Abyss, you should get a really big reward. And then I get it if every other time it's less, sure, whatever. But the first time is a really big deal. You should get rewarded for that.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Abyss. I just think the rewards are not very proportional. But then again, I don't really know, because I mean, yeah, some people they can do it. You can do it every patch, but I think they should be rewarded for that with more than more than one wish, I guess. But I don't know. Maybe that's silly. We're getting there. I don't know. We're adding. I'm glad that they're adding the simulated universe, Fluffy Bunny simulated universe. I want to talk a little bit about the. I guess I want to mention the mounts or something, whatever those things were. The Natlan teaser. You kind of liked it.
The Natlan teaser. I did kind of like it. I liked the music. I thought all of the critters were cute. I think if that's just a traversal tool, that's fine and fun, Sumeru has the warp points and Fontaine has the ocean. I think it's okay to have another exploratory mechanic. I do think it means you'll never get mounts, like true mounts.
Yeah, I wonder. I also kind of feel that way, because I don't know what that was. It seemed like you were playing as the monsters, but I think you're right in that like it could just be like either mini games, like like activate the statue and it's a time trial. You turn into a little monster and you have to go swim down the river real fast as a monster dolphin or something like that, or they're mounts and it's like a thing you equip as like a gadget and you activate it and you turn into a monster dolphin, and then you can go down a river fast if you want to. Like I don't know like which it is.
My bet would be there's some kind of spell or machine or equipable that lets you turn into whatever that area's monster is. Like you walk up to a herd of wildebeests and then you turn into a wildebeest with them. At like, I think you probably have to do it location based, but then you're like free from there would be my guess personally.
Yeah, and I would be very disappointed with that. It's kind of, it's obviously quite speculative at this point, but I am pretty bummed out about it. I didn't like the way they looked, and I think you're right that it's kind of killing the idea of mounts, which is very upsetting to me. Or worse, they are the mounts, and that would be even more terrible. But like, I don't know. At least for the ones they showcased, I didn't think that they were very cute. And
there
also,
was like a green guy that was really cute.
He is fine. I don't know. It's gonna take some convincing. I didn't think they were cute. I didn't think they were cool. And that is, if they're not one of those two things, then it's rough. I don't know. It kind of reminded me of, you remember, I think, it wasn't our very first Fontaine teaser, but one of the first Fontaine teasers was just like following a Melusine around. Mm-hmm. They were just like hopping around Fontaine, and everyone thought it was like a playable character. Little did they know, that they wouldn't give us a Melusine playable character. They're just gonna give us Siegewayne. But I don't know. I don't like the Melusines very much either. I just want to throw that out there. I know that's kind of slanderous. Yeah.
Blasphemy.
You love the Melusines.
I love the Melusines, except for Siegewayne, who weirds me out.
Oh no. I'm not a giant fan. And I'm also not a giant fan of the Arnaras. But that's just, I don't know. It's kind of unfair.
Hate fun.
I might just hate fun, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't know what I want. It's just not Arnaras or Melusines.
What do you want? Because you're saying you want pets, you're saying you want mounts, but every like cute animal thing they introduce into the game, you're like, nah, this ain't it. What are you after?
I don't know, man. Well, hold on. There's only Melusines are not cute animal things. They're monsters.
They are.
No.
What? No. They're you're one of the bad guys in the Uvulette Story Quest, dog.
Oh no. Am I?
Yes.
I'm not mean to the Melusines to their face.
That's not better.
I don't know. I feel like I just don't want like I'm fine.
Biodiversity.
I like yeah, that might be it. Maybe I just miss I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not exactly a side quest Andy, so it's like it's kind of funky because I do advocate. I like NPCs in story quests. Like I'm not against the NPCs. Like kind of a big topic in the Genshin community is kind of the NPC problem, or like it used to be, where people were upset that so many like voice acted NPCs like took the spotlight away from playable characters and their story quests and stuff like that. I personally disagree with that. I like well-written NPCs.
I do too.
And I don't exactly know how this relates to Melusines, but I guess my argument would be that the Melusines are like, I'm just not interested in their stories, I guess. Like, it's the NPC problem for me. Like, I don't, it's not my... They're not my cup of tea, so like I don't want them here. I have
such a problem with that.
Yeah?
I have such a problem with that. The Melusines are great. You're objectively wrong. They're fantastic. And most of their stuff, you're right to equate them to Aranara. Most of their stuff is like world quest stuff that's optional. But the Melusines who are voice acted, I thought you really liked, including the tour bus drivers.
Okay, so the tour bus drivers, are exceptions. I love I love the tour bus drivers. They're really funny and cute, but it's like that's great. I want it to stop there though. I don't want to like spend hours and hours and hours going and helping them like otherwise.
And you
I
don't
guess.
have to.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah, yeah.
Because
Well,
that's optional content.
it's optional, except now I've got this great sword sitting in my inventory that's like half powered because I haven't helped 10 Melusines or whatever. There's like an event weapon that came out a while ago that like
Yeah.
it's tied to how many Melusines you have helped, which is funny. But
Yeah, it's hilarious. And mine was full power from the get because I had already done every Melusine world
Yeah.
quest. I love those little guys.
you love those little guys.
Okay, what happens when in Natlan eventually this mount learning or animal possession or polymorph whatever system
Yeah.
allows you to be a dragon and fly? Is it all of a sudden fantastic?
Um, are we assuming that it's just like either really cute or really cool dragon?
I mean, you can see the dragons in that teaser.
Yeah, I see. I don't know. I am not attached to the idea of turning into a dragon and flying. I don't really like. Honestly, if it's a polymorph thing, I'm pretty much against it. I think. Like I'm not really into it. I don't really know why. It's just not my thing. I guess I'd rather have my characters like hop onto a dragon and fly around, but I
don't know. Okay.
I don't know what the. I'm sorry. What are you
It's
saying?
fine. No, I'm just disappointed.
I see.
I think this is content for me. I'm pumped about it. But
Interesting.
it's okay that it's not for you. I just thought we could enjoy it together.
All right. We'll be able to enjoy it together. It's just oh jeez.
It's fine. I know that I really liked the Fontaine Ocean stuff. I like the underwater levels. I know they're not like your favorite thing.
Yeah, I kind of turned around on the underwater stuff. It kind of depends. There's some underwater levels that I really liked, and then some that like I didn't hate the underwater as much as I thought I was going to, because every video game studio thinks that they're going to be the ones to make a playable underwater zone, and every single one of them ever has failed. I think Genshin's is fine. It's okay. It's not my, I don't think it's great, but I think some of it's pretty fun. Like I like it whenever there's like a really long like sequence of like it's like the wind tunnels but underwater, I guess. What are those things? Yeah, current. Yeah, there's like a current that goes around, and the whimsical music is playing and you're going by all the little fishies, and I don't know. It can be cool. I liked that like mechanic in some of the quests down there, because it is very pretty, and I like Genshin music, so I didn't
It's
mind
really
that.
pretty.
Got some good screenshots out of that.
I don't love the xenochromatic animal power borrowing thing.
Yeah,
But I
don't.
I don't know how they would possibly let you use your characters and their skills underwater. I get that they needed a solution.
Right. Which is, I don't know. I'm not saying it didn't. I'm not saying they didn't need to try it, but like it's not. I don't know why they had to try it. I guess it's the nation of waters, so I guess they wanted to do something underwater. Good for them. They didn't do the worst job ever. I just think that the best parts of the
beautiful.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely beautiful, and I mean there are some zones down there that are great. It's just that like the best zones that were underwater are the zones where you're not underwater. Like you go underwater and then you float through the really cool and creative like the water walls that you pop out, and then you're not underwater anymore. You're in open air, but you're under the ocean. Like that's the best part of the underwater zone, is whenever you're not in the water. So
I mean, those are cool. Yeah, I like those a lot.
Those are cool, and it was a creative mechanic. Like I like the or not. I guess it's a mechanic, but it's like just a design choice to have the like water walls that are just like this is where the water stops magically, and you could just float through, and it's air in there. Like that's pretty cool. I like it.
It is really, really neat. I like it. All right. Well, I will just like sit and wait until your opinion changes about the animal thing, or mine does, and then we can revisit this in Natlan.
I guess so. Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to. I just Melusines and Aranara. I'm gonna have to do some soul searching on that. I don't really.
I mean, start with Melusines because Aranara. It's just there's way too much not voice acted content, and the way that they speak is sometimes frustrating.
I guess I feel that way about Melusines too, though. Like I'm not a giant fan of the way they speak. I don't know. Maybe, I think I've got some very strong bias toward things that are like 200 years old or whatever, and then they're supposed to have the like mentality of children. Like I just really don't like that. I'm strongly against it, and I don't know. I don't know why.
I don't know that they have the mentality of children. I think
Don't they?
we have just as much of a hard time understanding them as they have a hard time understanding us. And it's interesting that like the parts of human culture that are accessible to them are kind of childlike parts because there's so much emotional understanding required in higher functioning things in society. But I also think that they, if you do the quests and if you learn about them, they also are like, they're in that space too. They're just in it in a way that looks really different and is very interesting to explore. For me.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll just I'll have to do. I see you. I see what's happening. I don't want to be on the wrong side of history here, but you know.
You don't have to placate me. It's fine.
I'm also just worried about Natland, but that's
That's fair. I am really worried about Natlan just for different reasons. The music is going to be great. Visually, it's going to be beautiful, but I don't know how excited I am to go to the Nation of War.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Fontaine was the propaganda nation, and I don't know. As much as I love Fontaine, I just don't know about the military propaganda that's going to have to be in Natlan. I don't know what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I have no idea either. You know, what are the messages we're going to be sending over there? I think Fontaine, it's a good example though of like it's so propaganda, and I love the characters. I feel like it's just going to be more of the same. Like I love the characters, but the storyline is just not going to be it. That's probably what's going to happen, but you know, I don't know.
Probably. I mean, I'm getting used to that with Genshin. I don't know that the story has ever really satisfied me.
That is devastating. It's something to think about, you know? I mean, you're not wrong. Sumeru, I kind of liked. I feel like
Sumeru, I liked.
We talked about this a ton, but like, yeah, I think Sumeru was fun. It's just, it's the best that Genshin has to offer, and I'm not entirely convinced it's like that good. So it's like, right.
Sumeru was peak Genshin content, but I really would like Sumeru to be the floor and not the ceiling.
Yeah, it is. That really is just, that's the problem, is that like, it was fine. It was good, you know, even. It's just that, you know, but yeah. Anyway, so I wanted to talk a little bit about a topical situation that's going on. Wuthering Waves just came out this week. Or whenever. And it is definitely the biggest Genshin killer game that has come out. I personally have spent a little bit of time in it. I had like a handful of hours. And my conclusion is it's pretty much dog shit. And I don't know, you know, the gameplay is fun. It's kind of like, I'd say the combat on the surface, I think what everyone is going to be saying is like, oh, its combat is like way better than Genshin's. And I think its combat is like odd par okay with Genshin. I think that everyone's going to be really attached to talking about how the combat is way more intricate and stuff like that. But in the end, it's pretty much just as button mashy as Genshin. It's just a bunch of flashy mechanics to make you feel like you're in a fighting game. I think that fighting game players are not going to like it because it's too button mashy and like everything is too forgiving and too... It's easy. It's easy just like Genshin is. That's my conclusion. And it's like, so it's kind of cool. It's kind of flashy and it feels good to play. But it's not actually that like, it's not that crazy is my final conclusion. And I haven't played it a ton, but it's like, the story is awful. So I don't think that Genshin players are going to really flock there at all. And if they do, like, it's kind of funny because I think Wuwa has some pretty toxic, already has cultivated a pretty toxic behavioral pattern of like, they don't like Genshin players because we're all casuals or whatever. And like, they don't, like, we won't be able to handle the Wuwa fighting mechanics, which is just funny to me because I think Wuwa is going to be just like Genshin and that like, it's not really like advertising to the casuals, but it is going to be catering to casuals. Like the game is going to be just as easy as Genshin is. So I don't know, like it's just kind of funny to me that they're going to be like, that's going to be a talking point. Anyway, they say like Genshin players won't like it because it's going to be too hard. I think Genshin players won't like it because the characters are shallow and the storyline is awful. That's why I think Genshin characters aren't going to like it. So I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, I just had to get that off my chest. But you know, what's the...
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I guess what I wanted to talk to you about was like, would you be interested in any Genshin killer games? So I know since they did advertise their combat a lot, you weren't very interested in Wuthering Waves, but...
Yeah, I don't want anything that is any more combat heavy than Genshin is already. If I'm really honest, I don't think any Genshin killers are ever going to get me because Genshin already is like on the outer... It's the outer part of the Venn diagram of games that I like. And really the game that has most threatened my Genshin playing time has been Honkai Star Rail.
Awesome. I was going to bring that up.
Because I like the turn-based content way more, or the combat way more. Traditionally, I have only liked combat games that are turn-based, like Persona 5 was one of my favorite games that I played before before this point. Some older Final Fantasy stuff is turn-based, and I think that's fun. Genshin combat to me already is like a little too open, and I have to like think about it a little too much, and I know it's really easy combat. But I don't need combat that's any flashier or any harder to execute. I really like having a lot of structure to my gaming experiences, and I don't want another open world game with more combat that's even more difficult. I'm just not going to play it.
Yeah, that's fair. So like if a game came out that was like Genshin, but was I don't know, advertised more about its story, I guess, and like I don't know, like the emphasis was on story. I guess you're saying like it doesn't really matter. I can't really, I don't know why there'd be a game with more story than Genshin and like less combat. I feel like it's gonna be pretty much the same like kind of level.
Right. I think Genshin is already in the sweet spot of characters that you're gonna love, combat that's easy enough, and story that's passable. And I don't think a Genshin killer is going to come out and say, we do everything Genshin does, but we just care more about the story. Because, the story is passable enough in Genshin that nobody has that critique. Everyone's critiquing the combat mostly. Or like, the Genshin characters are a little bit more family friendly than the Wuthering Waves characters.
Oh, yeah. Wuthering Waves is a little bit more booba than Genshin, which is also funny because Genshin is a booba game for sure, and it's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
So I don't know. I feel like the emphasis for me is always in the wrong place. And Honkai Star Rail is doing the thing where, because they're also a Hoyoverse game probably, the combat is fun enough, the story is fine enough, and the characters are really enjoyable. So I don't know that there's going to be a version of a Genshin competitor that's not also just a Hoyoverse game for me. And I know that makes me sound like a shill for Hoyoverse, but I think they do have this thing down where they know what I want to see in a character, especially with, Jade coming out and Constance on the horizon for Honkai Star Rail. They really have my number in particular.
They've got you.
They've got me. So I don't know where I've invested so much time and energy into both of these games and, money also in some places, that something's going to have to be really, really, really shiny for me to give my time to it.
Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying. I think something that kind of surprised me about Wuthering Waves is like how I feel like it made me feel a certain kind of way, and that I think it could have got me. Like, playing that game, like, if the story was just better, like, I think it could have gotten me in a way that, like, I wouldn't mind a Genshin copycat that was good. I feel like I really wouldn't mind one, just to have another, like, just a different story with different characters to care about. I think I'm open to, and I think it could be done. Like, I don't, that I guess there's not really more to that sentence. I think it is possible. It's just that I don't understand why Wuthering Waves is so, like, bad story wise. I don't like, if it was just better, I would, which is like, it seems unhelpful to say, like, just do better, but, like, honestly, it's like they don't even have writers. Genshin has like a million writers just stepping on each other's toes, and that's why all the stories are kind of not that good. And then it's like Wuwa, like, it's like the CEO's, like, idea was, let's have a War of the Gods, put that in the background, and then, like, that's what they did. Like, that's, I don't know. Okay,
so because you have played Wuthering Waves, I have watched you play enough to think that Whiff Waff is the perfect name for a little stone guy.
True.
But really
true.
Nothing else. So, like, what were the things that got you? If the story were better, what would you be staying for?
So what I want is I did like the combat. I think the combat is fun. I like the, like, just kind of just a slightly different take on, like, what the characters can do, I guess. Like, the intro and outro skills are pretty cool, which is like, they've got, like, energy. They've got energy just like Genshin characters, but it's like for their ult and 2 other abilities. So they've got an ability that if you have enough energy, whenever you swap into them, they activate a skill. And then if you swap out of them, they activate a skill. So it's like a which is pretty cool. And there's only 3 characters on a team instead of 4, which I guess that isn't that interesting of a mechanic, but it is like it's it kind of forces some different
well, yeah, you have to like care more about your rotations and your energy.
And I like the graphics, they're cool. I like the way the characters look. I think that there's a lot of potential there, which is something that pretty much all other Genshin killers have completely floundered on, is character design. And it's like they were all, none of them had that good of character design. I mean, there's like Tower of Fantasy, their characters were pretty hot, but it's like that's just a booba game, period. And it's like, at least I feel like Wuwa had some, I don't know, some dignity, I guess, it's some amount, but like, I don't know. Not that I'm against shameless pandering, but it's like,
I hear you, but I guess the other part of the argument with Genshin killers is that Triple Z is in development And is that not just Hoyoverse's own Genshin killer?
Yeah, I think Triple Z is gonna come out and just be what Wuwa should have been. That's what I think is gonna happen, pretty much. Like I think that it's gonna have a better combat system than Genshin. Actually, I think that Wuwa's, like I said, I don't think that the combat's actually better than Genshin's. I think it's pretty much the same, and also not that deep. And I think Genshin's combat is simultaneously better than people give it credit for, and I think Wuwa's is slightly worse than people are going to try to give it credit for. It's the best part of the game, so everyone's going to try to hype it up. I think that ZZZ is going to be pretty much the exact same way as, like, kind of that exact dynamic, where it's like, I think its combat is going to be more in-depth than Genshin's. I think it's going to... Better is kind of subjective, but I think it'll probably be better than Genshin's. Mm-hmm. And there's gonna be way more focus on it, and I think I don't know if it's actually gonna be harder than Genshin, but it might be. It might be as much harder as Wuwa is, I guess. But I'm really interested in
it.
It
looks harder.
It does look
I'm
harder.
intimidated by it.
But that's like one of my problems with it, though, or like with Wuwa especially, that I've noticed. I'm not that I'm not a max level player fighting the max level bosses, but I have a suspicion that fighting in-game bosses in Wuwa is going to be just as button mashy as fighting in-game bosses in Genshin Impact. Like, it looks flashier, but it's like it only looks flashier because you don't know what the characters are doing, basically. And it's like, if you played it, you'd probably get it. And that's kind of that's my argument, is that it looks flashy, but it's not actually that much like more in-depth than Genshin combat. Mm-hmm. You're just mashing your buttons and it's gonna work because it's an easy game. So that's how it is. There's counterattacks. I don't know. And I think ZZZ is probably gonna be similar. I think it's gonna look a lot flashier because they also have the like swapping mechanics and stuff. But
yeah, it definitely looks a lot flashier. But the character design is also super varied from what we've seen from Triple Z already.
Yeah. Or you're saying Triple Z has varied character design?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have like a lot of different character design, body types, creature types going on.
I remember whenever Star Rail came out, everyone was kind of losing their mind because it looked like they had more like body templates than Genshin had. Turned out that was pretty much wrong. But they did ZZZ definitely has more templates than Star Rail or Genshin. There's no bear template in Genshin, so that's
right.
That is interesting. They do have some varied characters, and I'm pretty hyped about it. I don't know, I'm here for it. I think I'm excited for the Wolf Boy and Bear Boy, because it's like
the Ghost Witch too.
The Ghost Witch, the Electro Witch lady.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's great. I like the blue girl. She seems cool. I like that they have like I guess monster types. They're people too, I'm sure, but it's like I am excited about it. I think it's cool. I don't mind having some wacky character ideas, and I'm not against just having hot white people as all of the characters, but like I am pretty excited to have some not just white hot people as the main characters, or all of the characters.
Yeah, some more diversity would be nice, definitely.
Yeah. We are getting animals before. No, never mind. We don't have.
We don't. Yeah. Listen, it should have happened much sooner, and it should be better already. I'll leave it there.
That's just how it is. That's just how it is. It doesn't matter. I'm excited. I think it's gonna be cool, and I am interested in the combat. I personally like combat games, so ZZZ is gonna be something I'm pretty interested in. So you don't plan on playing ZZZ?
I don't know. I like the Tifa clone. I like the witch lady. I just the combat looks really intimidating for me. So
right.
I will probably try it when it comes out, but I don't know if it will have staying power for me because I don't like fighting games. I don't like combat heavy stuff, and it looks hard to me.
Yeah. I see that. I see what you're saying. And I feel like they're trying to do that. Like they're trying to make it look intimidating because that makes people who can do it like feel better about themselves. But you know, my argument is that to like relax, it's not that deep. But you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. And I don't know. You know, I obviously have no idea. I haven't played any of the ZZZ like betas or anything like that, so I have no idea how it's gonna work. Can we move on to the ship of the week?
Yeah, let's move on to the ship of the week. What do you got for me?
This week, I've got, I think, a really interesting ship, or at least the conversation around it can be very interesting, and that is Shinha and Yelan.
Okay. Yeah, give me your thoughts.
My initial thoughts are, I really like what this ship represents because there's a lot of people in the community. This is an important ship for the shipping community. Like this is ours, not people outside of the shipping community, because it means a lot to us, because it's like there are certain parts of the shipping community that think that Shinha Yelan represent the worst that shipping has to offer, and then there are others that think it's some of the best that shipping has to offer. And it's because, unless I'm mistaken, those two characters have not said a single word to each other in the game. So it's like there is no reason to have them, like, lore-wise at least, or like story-wise, narratively speaking, there's no reason for these two characters to be in a relationship. And that is an interesting thing. Like, I think it's basically, for a lot of people, it's like, okay, there's just two hot people, let's have them kiss. That's kind of as far as it goes. But, you know, I would say there's probably some interesting things there personality-wise I can see, like, for relationship dynamics, but, you know, that I'm not going to pretend like that's the reason everyone likes them. But anyway, how do you feel about ships where people don't talk to each other in the game, but it's like completely outside of the game?
It's a really interesting topic, because I feel like this does happen in other places and other properties. Like, fan fiction writers are going to write fan fiction and they're going to pick characters they like, and sometimes those characters have never met, and that's okay. I think Shinha and Yelan, there is reason why we should all want to see them interact in this story. I feel like they are similar to each other personality-wise, but for very different reasons. They've both got this rope motif going on. They look really pretty in screenshots together because visually they kind of foil each other. I think there's a lot of potential there, and I understand shipping for the potential and shipping for the aesthetic, and then just really wanting Genshin to make it happen because it so easily could happen.
Yeah, it kind of doesn't make sense that they don't talk to each other, because like they're both from Liyue. I mean, I guess Shinha lives in the mountains or something, but like she comes down.
Yeah, but Yelan's always running around. Yeah. Like Yelan knows everything about Shinha because Yelan knows everything about everyone.
That's right.
And I feel like would take an interest in her.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't? She's so powerful, she has to be literally magically restrained. I feel like Yelan would be keeping a real close eye on that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's for the better interest of the people of Liyue. Like, she has to get close to Shinha for the safety of the people.
And there is exactly why it's perfect ship bait, because there are so many scenarios in which you can imagine them meeting and you can decide what their dynamic is based on what you know about their personalities, what you know about their character. And I think that's great. I think it's the same thing as going don't you think Farina and Fischl would get along so well? Because they're both sort of delusional and they like to talk.
Yeah, I do. I think that they'd be great. I
think they'd be great friends. And drawing a comic where they have tea together, nobody's going to be mad at you about that. But drawing a comic where Yelan and Shinha have, you know, a romantic dinner together, people get angry because they've never talked. I just think, like, shipping is an imaginary thing to do anyways, a lot of the time. Some of them have good foundation, but a lot of ships in the game, you're making implications and you're going, this personality and this personality work well together. I'm going to imagine the conclusion of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So sorry, I've got no problem shipping people who have never talked in the game.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, Shinha and Yelan are kind of, they're almost like, I'd say that they're a perfect example, but they're almost a bad example of, like, I think that they could be good together. So, like, their personalities are pretty, I would say there's a lot of potential there for personality-wise them being in a relationship. But there are plenty of examples of people that, like, that nothing about their personality would really mesh. It really is just they would look good together. And it's like, I don't have a problem with that either. Like, I think that, you know, I don't know. I think that that's fine. I
think that that's fine. Yeah, like, people, shipping is just a fun thing you can do where you imagine two people interacting with each other. Two fictional people usually interacting with each other.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't...
Except when it's
I don't know why it matters if they've met or not.
Something that happened before the Lantern Rite, Farina and Hu Tao, they did happen to meet and talk quite a bit at Lantern Rite, and they were pretty funny together. But, like, people were outfit swapping and, like, comic booking those two characters well before Lantern Rite came out. And, like, I don't think I saw, like, a single comment about how those two had never spoken before. Of course they have now, but it's like, they just had a very clear, I don't know, personality and aesthetic, like, thing. So, like, it was funny to point out that they were these two, like, I don't know, girls with their Zhongli and what's his name? Neuvillette. Like, it's funny because they're two of the same dynamic, just the, like, sporadic girl and whatever the fuck Neuvillette and Zhongli are, old men.
Yeah, reluctant dad and his overly excitable daughter.
Yeah. And it's like, that was funny and fun to, like, make fun of. Or not to make fun out of. It's different. They're not making fun of it. They're big, you know, yeah, anyway. It's just kind of, that was something that happened, and now they have spoken to each other, so it's a little bit different. But I don't think that there's very many people, there's not a ton of actual, like, romantic, like, shipping happening with Farina and Hu Tao, but there was a ton of outfit swapping and stuff like that. Or them just being together, making mischief, especially with Zhongli and Neuvillette around. Like, that was just kind of a funny dynamic.
Yeah, no one cares if characters have met each other if you're making them friends, but if you make them kiss, then you better have evidence for that. And I think, once again, it's just, like, homophobia hiding behind something else, personally.
Sure. I agree, especially in Genshin, for some reason.
Yeah, if it's like, oh, I'm gonna ship, you know, a guy and a girl. I'm gonna ship Toma and Hu Tao because they look pretty together. Like, people don't care as much as if you ship Toma and Ayato.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's a problem. It's definitely a problem we have faced. Oh, man.
So the ships that I have the most problem with are the ships where I think those people would not get along and would never date.
I see.
I really think any other where the dynamic feels honest, I don't care if they met or not.
It's funny, you just jostled my memory. With this I don't know, like, anti-personality shipping. Alhaitham and Nilu.
No! It's a bad ship, and I wish it would burn.
No, yeah, that's funny. And
Those two have not spoken to each other, despite sitting next to each other throughout the entire Interdarton tournament. And I firmly believe it's because they have nothing to say to each other.
right, yeah. I don't think that's not a very popular ship. I say that, I don't really know. I've seen it actually several times.
No, Nilu and Kaveh is kind of a popular ship, though.
Interesting.
And I can get behind that one.
I think I absolutely ship Nilu Kaveh as friends. I really think, I've got a whole tangent, dude, about how I think that Kaveh needs to leave Alhaitham, be friends with Nilu. Nilu can teach Kaveh how to respect himself, and then Kaveh can go teach Alhaitham how to respect Kaveh. And then that's how Kaveh and Alhaitham can become good friends, or like to become good friends, become a healthy relationship.
I think it can end before that. I think Nilu can teach Kaveh to control his anxiety and to value himself and to believe in himself, and then he can go out and find someone better than Alhaitham rather than investing any further. But if he respected himself, he wouldn't.
Oh God. Oh jeez.
I don't think he needs to invest any more in this man who will never invest back.
But he's really hot.
There are hotter Genshin characters. He lives in Sumeru. He could go get one of those muscle daddies from the desert.
That's true. There are a couple of muscle daddies out in the desert. Good old Jet's dad.
Well, not Jet's dad specifically.
Yeah, he's yeah.
Spoilers if we say why, it's fine.
I have seen a lot of Nilu Alhaitham on r/Genshin Romance. Have you had the pleasure of r/Genshin Romance?
No, I haven't.
I like it.
It seems nice, except you've just told me it's plastered with Alhaitham Nilu stuff.
It does have
I'll
some...
take a break first.
Jeez. It's mostly just wholesome fan art of lots of different ships, I guess. And I mean that actually,
nice.
it is actually wholesome.
I don't actually find the wholesome stuff all that often.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta go looking for the wholesome stuff, and I just told you where some of it is.
Okay, I'll check it out later.
It's funny. I like Shinha, Yelan. I like Shinha Yunjin too, though. So
that's my preferred ship with Shinha, definitely.
Yeah, they have a lot to say. Well, Yunjin has a lot to say about Shinha. And I think Shinha would like Yunjin, but they don't really they haven't spoken a ton, but like I think that they could hit it off. And I think Yunjin wants that to happen, which is one half of this.
I really think they could.
Yeah.
I've played Yunjin's Hangout quest, and I feel like her personality would pair really well with Shinha's. And now that Shinha is working in Wanmin restaurant in the city, it just becomes that much more possible.
I forgot that Shinha doesn't live in the mountains anymore. She's working, or I don't know where she lives, but she works in the city all the time. So, So Yelan and her definitely could have spoken, but yeah, her and Yunjin definitely could have spoken also. Oh geez. Yeah, I like Yunjin, and I like that she just crushes on Shinha. I identify with the characters that simp for other characters. This is a great thing. Like I like these guys. I don't really know if there's anyone else I would prefer Yelan with. I mean, she's got those two like ninja boys that follow her around, but that's not.
So even though these two have never spoken to my knowledge, I think Yelan and Kuki Shinobu would be a really fun ship.
They definitely could, like they're both intelligent, strong women.
Short-lived, I think, but gorgeous.
It could be a fling,
time.
A good fling.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kuki has too many good ships, dude. I don't,
Maybe we do Kuki next time.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a long discussion about Kuki possible ships and half confirmed ships.
Yeah. Cookie's really something, dude. She's a gift.
We love Cookie.
We do love Cookie. All right. Any final thoughts? And that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about this week.
My final thoughts are attaching stuffed animals to the simulated universe feels like you're making fun of Herta, but I can get behind it. And I love Cookie. Those are my final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I like that we're getting a new indie game thing. I'm excited to like. My favorite part of that is gonna be playing other people's characters, but stuffed animals I could give or take.
True.
I like Herta, but
I like Herta.
I also love Kuki, but we need to. I like Yunjin. We can we got to put Yunjin out there. Yunjin love. She doesn't get much attention, so she needs to get attention on this Shinha Yelan shipping thing. Poor Yunjin. Poor Yunjin. All right, that'll do it.
May I give one final thought?
Yeah, give a final thought.
Just to return to my habit of giving the dating advice for video games, I briefly mentioned Persona 5 before. The dating advice is there is no choice other than Makoto. You must date Makoto. She's fabulous. She's fantastic. She's hot. She's got her shit together, and she rides a motorcycle. She's the right choice.
Okay. She sounds great.
She's great.
Okay, yeah. She's Toru's mom, basically.
Yeah, kind of. Kind of, except she's also the student council president.
Oh, I see.
She's she's really put together, but she's also, like, the game is about what is your rebellious side, and her rebellious side is Toru's mom from Fruits Baskets.
I see. Okay. Excellent. Amazing final thought.
Thank you. And Alex does the weird sign out this time.
Good night, babies.
Yay!